Well, here we are. I'm Skully, the Metalhead, and this is the final part of the Matrix Parthenio commentary. Never thought I'd reach this point, actually. I mean, considering all the fuck-ups and all that kind of shit that I've had. I honestly never thought I would have gone beyond the Silent Hill commentary, but hey, this feels pretty good. But then again, I'm speaking too soon, so what's going on? Well, apparently, aside from my gas truck, Jesus, final part and I can't fucking speak. Now somehow, because of the telekinetic powers that bind, a giant Agent Smith is being constructed of debris and building parts, and this cutscene is entirely CG. And you know what? It actually looks pretty fucking nice. In fact, I probably would have preferred to have seen more cutscenes in the vein of this one. Why they never really bothered to animate it is, I guess, either a case of budget or laziness, because honestly, this looks pretty good for 2005. I mean, hell, I'd say it probably still looks pretty good by today's standards. In fact, honestly, if there was a Matrix Path of Neo remake on like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I would want it in the styles of, you know, pretty much this style of cutscene, you know? I think it'll look pretty cool. Now, of course, we activate the jump lead, which initiates Agent Smith. Of course, we grab a billboard with, like, giant sunglasses, because, you know, Agent Smith always has that prepared for his giant fucking robots. And the strangest thing, it has the capacity to fucking smile. How does that even work? And this is how we'll be spending a majority of the boss fight. We're using the flying controls, and basically what we're going to be doing for a majority of this is basically dodging Megasmith's attacks, and then flying forward to attack him, which I'll point out a little bit later. Ouchies. Now, of course, if you let Smith hit you 3 times, you are sent back very, very, very far away, and, well, as a result, you have to play a game of... I don't really have an adequate description for that. But yeah, this is basically what you want to see. You want to see Agent Smith praise Jesus, and that is your cue to attack him. You'd think he'd probably learn from this after 1 or 2 strikes on that, but hey, he's a giant beast made up of Agent Smith's cars and building parts, so I wouldn't really put it past him to have a very big brain. Of course, you can use the other few building constructs for cover, but those are limited, and honestly, you probably won't reach a lot of them half the time, so it's better to just use your evasion move by using focus, which eats up a huge amount of focus. And if you use code vision on Megasmith, you can actually see like a lot of the parts of him that are destructible and which parts of them are not, because the Megasmith is covered completely in gold, but there are red portions where you can see where Neo's going to hit, and when there's just gold pieces left, that's pretty much your cue that, okay, this is the final attack. I just made it sound like a fucking fantasy RPG by that logic. But yes. Ooh. You see, this is what I was talking about earlier. Neo was just sent flying back, even though, by all odds, that clapping attack probably should have just stunned him. And instead you have to kind of play a little game of baseball with Agent Smith as he throws garbage at you, and you just have to charge up your Mega Punch, or dodge out of the way of it, and essentially just play the waiting game. But for all intents and purposes, though, this boss, I really think probably could have been built up to be a little bit more epic than it was. Like, I don't know, I mean, and this is honestly why I think that the flying controls probably could have taken a few cues from Kingdom Hearts 2, like with a lot of its reaction commands. Because honestly, I think, I mean, again, for as much as people hate QuickTime events, I honestly think that, like, some kick-ass combo, or, I don't know, just like some kind of power move in the air probably would have made this boss fight a little bit more exciting, but honestly, it's just kind of there for the novelty of having a giant robot, and I've got to say, what the hell compelled the Wachowski brothers to do something like this? I mean, you know, say what you will about the Jesus ending in The Matrix Revolutions, but at least it was fitting to the tone that the Wachowski brothers were setting, but that having a giant robot at the end is just out there. I mean, it's like at the end of, well, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this movie, but it's like at the end of Session 9 when, well, spoiler alert, you find out that Gordon has pretty much killed everybody, and because of quote-unquote Simon, and then all of a sudden it turns out that he was actually a Transformer all along, which, I don't know, it just, from the standpoint of a video game, it makes sense to have this be the final boss, because video game, we're kind of poking fun at ourselves anyway, but in terms of the context of the movie, it's just, oh, excuse me. Just take a, my water bottle's all the way over there. Christ, are you about done over there? Okay, there we go. Whee! And, yes, if you do complete that successfully, that does count as an extra hit. Although you kind of have to dodge a little bit more stuff than you would normally if you were just flying up in the air. Yeah, and Smith roars for some reason. But though, then again, that's probably the least surprising thing about his entire boss fight. Although, admittedly, this is one of those weird boss fights where it actually gets easier the more you go on, because the more you attack, you end up destroying his arm, then his head. Well, not completely, but you do damage it significantly. And he essentially loses, like, 1 or 2 attacks that he does, which is pretty fun, although he does replace it with a slightly more annoying attack, which we'll probably get into a little bit later. But, yeah, much like the previous aerial battles, or, so to say, the previous Smith fight, your focus will completely regenerate. You know, you don't have to worry about focus packs or anything else like that. And that was the second attack which you saw just there, which I was mentioning earlier. A bunch of Agent Smiths will fly at you, and if you let them land on you, they'll basically just distract you. I don't think they'll do anything, but I think they'll just stay until the Mega Smith either attacks you, or if you just kick them off by pressing the triangle button. But yeah, aside from that, this boss fight is just relatively simple, and really weird. I mean, I don't know, I guess in the context of the Matrix, you could have stuff like this, considering that there were anomalies and shit, but I don't know, man. There really isn't just much to say with this boss fight, it's just more entertaining to play than it is to watch, really. I suppose, as a final referendum for... Is referendum the right word? Probably not, but... excuse me. Just to tie everything up, I suppose I should probably summarize what there really is left of this game. And one thing that will really confuse me come the ending, since, well, I can't show the live-action movie cutscenes, is that Neo defeats Smith in this one, he ends the war, and Neo survives. Or, at the very least, it seems to be implied that he survives compared to the movie, where he lets Smith assimilate him, and then Smith ended up dying alongside Neo. I'm just not really too sure what to make of that, because, I mean, I'm pretty sure Neo and Smith need to die in order for Neo to quote-unquote establish a world of peace, or at the very least in a temporary sense, you know? Honestly, though, it just kind of makes me wonder, like, how the world would have changed. I mean, if this is the canon ending, or whether or not this is just an offshoot because of a video game. But then again, considering the fact that it's been over 10 years by this point and the Wachowskis have moved on to bigger and better things, I probably don't think they really care that much anymore. Which is really sad, because I want to see more Matrix stuff. More Matrix... Honestly, like, I mean, for its time, though, the Matrix was huge, man. And again, I've repeated this time and time again throughout the entire commentary, but I really want to see more expanded material from the Matrix, you know? There's so much potential, man. It's just completely... And it's just completely wasted that everyone says, oh, the movies aren't good anymore because the nostalgia critics said so. Fuck those people, man. The Matrix is cool. Honestly, there's plenty of reasons why I think it would still work as a movie, because, I mean, even if you don't like the religious symbolism and everything to do with that, it's still got a lot of the cool elements, like, you know, the cyberpunk, even the bloody, inner workings of the programs and everything, really. Like, that's honestly all I wanted from the series. More expansion, just more development of its world. But I've said that too many times throughout the playthrough, and really, it's come down to this, Agent Smith. It's time to end this, once and for all. Come on. You can do it, Neo. Miss? You're gonna wonder what those Agent Smiths are feeling. He's like, I'm gonna catch Neo, oh shit, and then they died. And this will be the final attack. And that was the Matrix Path of Neo commentary with... Fuck, I'm so used to saying that now that... but yeah, that was the Matrix Path of Neo. Never thought I'd get this commentary done, all things considered, but... hey. Now, ordinarily you would be hearing Queen's We Are the Champions, but considering the fact that it is probably heavily copyrighted, and the fact that, well, it's kind of a cheesy way to end the game on, honestly, I decided to replace it by Sleeping Awake with, yeah, excuse me, I can't even speak during the fucking credits. I decided to replace it with Sleeping Awake by POD, since that did appear on the Matrix Reloaded soundtrack. Yeah, as to detail my final thoughts on the game, a lot of the padding has become a lot more noticeable with this recent playthrough. Like, I mean, with the Merovingian section, the bloody, you know, the filler missions. It's noticeable, but I still have fun with this game regardless because of its soundtrack, its combat, honestly, pretty much everything except for the flying controls I love. I mean, you know, the voice impersonators do a decent job, although some do a better job than others. And overall, The Matrix Path of Neo is a game that I honestly recommend to people who are both fans of The Matrix and people who just want to find a decent action game to rent for the weekend. So if you find this game anywhere, I recommend you check it out and buy it. Stop sleeping awake. But yeah, in terms of future commentaries that I'll be doing, it'll be, well, as soon as The Matrix Path of Neo is all uploaded, which will probably be, I'd say a month or two after this one is uploaded. Well, at the time of recording anyway. After The Matrix Path of Neo, we'll be getting back to Doom 3, and I think either as soon as Doom 3 is wrapped up or on the tail end of it, I will be going through the first Assassin's Creed video game, which I plan to do a review of this year, although I'll probably end up doing Assassin's Creed sometime through 2017. But honestly though, Assassin's Creed I really want to do because I think it's kind of underrated, and considering that the Assassin's Creed movie isn't following that plot, I figured it'd probably be as good a time as any to do it, because honestly, a lot of people overlook the first Assassin's Creed game and it kind of depresses me. But in any case, I'm excited for the next few commentaries because I've been meaning to get back into some Doom action, especially considering the release of the 2016 game, which I unfortunately haven't played yet because I don't own a PlayStation 4. But to close everything off, I am Skully, keep it new metal, and this concludes the Matrix Path of Neo commentary. Anybody hear me? Anybody feel